Welcome to a video entitled Mapping a Virtual Disk. Now what you're going to see here is really quite astounding that you can pull this off, because what I want to do here is show you that on the host machine I am running VMware Workstation. Okay, so here's VMware Workstation running on my host machine, right? Well, if I go to my computer and if I bring this onto the screen here and I go into my libraries, into my documents, you can see that I have virtual machines here, right? And if I look in XP Professional, there is my VMDK file for XP Professional. You'll notice it's about 2 gigs in size right now. Well, if I want to look at something inside that file, what I have to do is I'm going to move this out of the way for now. I'd have to go into here, start up XP Professional and look in the file on the virtual machine. But there's something else I can do that's pretty wild, and that is I can map a virtual drive from the host into my VMDK files here, and I can access those VMDK files without starting this machine. So I want to show you that. Notice, if I go into VMware Workstation, I've got it in this little window for a purpose here, so that you can see this is the host out here. This is VMware, and so I'm going to click on File, Map Virtual Disks, and this little map or disconnect virtual disk window pops up, and I click Map. Then I'm going to Browse, and if I look in my virtual machines and my documents, here's XP Professional, and I'll just point at the VMDK file and click Open, and notice it sees that it's 25 gigabytes, and notice it's going to map it. Let's do it to drive X, okay, for XP Professional. And notice it's going to open this in Windows Explorer after mapping. So I click OK. It's going to click and hum just a couple of minutes here, and then there it is. And I'm going to move this over out of the way, and I want you to see what happened to this window that I had open. That is right there. Notice local disk X. It's now appearing down here, okay, and I can go into Documents and Settings, Administrator, my documents, and there's all the documents that are in my particular folders out there on that virtual machine. Okay, if I look at the desktop, there's a Firefox setup file out there, so let's move this, okay, and I'll just close this, double click this, and I will power on this XP Professional machine and show you. Now this is some incredible stuff. Now this is something I'm glad this popped up. This will show up here because it failed to lock the file, because there's a snapshot disk that depends on, and this will come up from time to time. And let me just show you how to deal with this, okay? I am going to go out to my documents, to my virtual machines, to XP Professional, and there are some LCK, some lock files here. I'm just going to delete those, move them to the recycle bin, and then I'm going to move this back over out of the way and power this thing on again. Now, not exactly sure everything that's going on there, but you will encounter that. I moved them to the recycle bin. If I need them, I can get them back. Sometimes I'll just cut them and paste them over into another folder that says, you know, old lock files, whatever. Don't want to go too deep into all that here. But notice I'm starting up XP, and I want you to see what's going on here in this thing. I will make this full screen. You heard all the startup stuff maybe. And notice here is my Firefox setup file. Well, if I go into my documents, you'll notice there's downloads, my pictures, my music, new folder. Well, what I'm going to do here is drag this in off the host. Hope I'm not confusing you here with too many windows. But this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like on XP. Let me drag this one in and hit local X, and then I will go into my Documents and Settings, Administrator, my documents, and you will notice we're looking at the same thing. Downloads, my music, new folders. And if I look in downloads here, you'll see there's a new folder in there. And let me come back over here, and if I go to my local X, Documents and Settings, Administrator, my documents, and go into the new folder, you can see I don't have anything in there. Oh, it was in downloads. That's where I went, and there's a new folder. I'm in the same place. This right here is a host machine. Notice this is a Windows 7 window, okay, that I'm dragging off my other monitor. So what I've given you here is I've shown you how to map from the host out here into a VMDK, and you don't even have to have the VMDK running to access it. Now there's one thing I do want to show you though. Notice that when we did this, Okay, and when you first mapped it, it says open file in read-only mode. What they're saying is when I access a VMDK from out here in my host, I don't want to make changes to that because it can mess it up from inside here, and it gets out of whack, and it can cause some corruption and some problems. But anyway, keep in mind what you've just seen, and I hope I didn't confuse you, is the ability to tell Workstation, I want to map a virtual disk. So I'm going to map a virtual disk from here out to my host system so I can reach into my virtual disks without actually having to start up the virtual machines. Really, really cool, really, really powerful stuff.